Hi there, it's Donovan, and after being chased by the Nintendo ninjas, I've decided to find the origin of this mess. Why do they care? I mean, it was just a helicopter after all. Nintendo is well known for their vast and imaginative video games and their characters. They're easily the most iconic video game developer out there because of their friendly for all ages characters that have become household names. You show your dad this guy and he's gonna think his name is Dimitri. You show him this thing and he already knows it's the one and only Jigglypuff, of course. They're the only ones capable of selling a buttload of copies of a fighting game simply based on all of their prominent franchises. Nintendo has been consistently pushing out genre-defining games with such remarkable worlds and memorable characters for years now. It's a no-brainer they've developed one of the most passionate fans in the video game space. But Nintendo also likes to be complete assholes to those fans when they remotely touch their IPs. Oh, little Timmy got a Mario birthday cake? Get that shit out of here! Did Timmy sign his soul away on the necessary documents to distribute his edible sugary dessert with Mario's face on it to his loved ones? I bet he didn't. 50 years of jail time and a lifetime of servitude. Nintendo has been notoriously merciless when it comes to their intellectual properties. Oh, want to show the world of your high-quality Mario 64 strategy guide scan? How about strategizing your escape from prison, bitch? Oh, you just simply backwards long jump into the steel bars and suffer severe spine dislocation. Well, now you're no longer decaying in a prisoner uniform, you're rotting away in a hospital gown. Oh, want to remake Mario for the Commodore 64? Arkham Asylum is where you'll be developing it. Oh, want to share your love of Nintendo game soundtracks to YouTube because they don't provide any other ways to listen to them? Yeah, the judge ruling the electric chair is also music to my ears. Oh, want to show how fun a modded multiplayer Breath of the Wild would be? Have fun playing that, they say. Aw, that's nice for once. Have fun playing with Satan. Nintendo is truly horrible when it comes to the tiniest things that touch their IPs. Clearly, they don't see how much we absolutely love their games and their products and characters. And instead they just look the other way and give us the finger. But you have to understand, there are some tremendously important and logical reasons as to why Nintendo does the things it does. But what are they? Well, let's dive deep, and I mean very deep. Universal had a big IP they thought they'd be in control of in the 80s, King Kong. Back in the early 80s, gaming was a growing and lucrative market, so when the fledgling that was Nintendo had their first big hit on their hands, onlookers were filled with jealousy. Donkey Kong was a smash hit and put a small Nintendo on the map. So in comes Universal, who sues Nintendo claiming that Donkey Kong was an infringement on their King Kong IP. At that time, what seemed like an extraordinary turn of events, the minuscule Nintendo defeated the Titan that was Universal and ensured that Donkey Kong was an original IP and King Kong could no way be confused with Donkey Kong. Funny that these guys made a movie together. But as a result of this, look at King Kong now. Universal failed to prove that they own the rights to King Kong, and today, it's a complicated mess on who exactly owns King Kong. And US law is built on precedent. Ever heard of stare decisis? My AP Gov knowledge really kicked into gear. This event would be the catalyst of Nintendo's legal battles, the advent of the ninjas. Nintendo had a first-hand look at a behemoth failing to secure the rights to what they claimed to be their IP out of carelessness. But why so serious? Why should Nintendo be so extremely careful to not lose their IPs? Well, remember what I said earlier? Nintendo has a catalog of iconic household names. Names that would spell doom to their very existence if they so happen to lose them to the wild. Let's talk about the media company to end all media companies. Disney. They own a shit ton of IPs and have unlimited amounts of money. These fuckers own Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, ABC, ESPN, and so much more. It's unbelievable. Not to mention their own in-house IPs like Pirates of the Caribbean or Mickey Mouse or Disney princesses. Disney is one to not fuck around with. You do not mess with the mouse. They will sue you to oblivion. Sound familiar? The Disney Vault is vast and numerous and holds some of the most recognizable franchises known to man. So of course they must be extremely careful to not lose any of it. You probably know where this is going, but let's put some more emphasis on the treasures these companies hold. Mickey Mouse, Star Wars, Winnie the Pooh, Toy Story are some of the highest grossing media franchises in the world. Disney is defending their rights to own these humongous money printers. But for those who didn't know, do you want to know what the highest grossing media franchise is? By a large factor, it's Pokemon. This motherfucking Roblox looking ass game series is more profitable than goddamn Star Wars, Marvel, the mouse himself. If Disney could, they would send Nintendo to the door of darkness and take Pokemon without question. But let's not just look at Pokemon. What about other Nintendo franchises? Mario sits at the second highest grossing video game franchise ever. Mario generates more money than Toy Story, than Barbie, and Transformers, than Spider-Man, than Batman. The Wii alone is such a recognizable brand, it has made a buttload of money for the big N. Zelda and Donkey Kong 2 have made a significant impact on Nintendo's wallets. Now you understand what Nintendo has. But what if they lose those franchises? Well, that Nintendo Ninja finna be homeless. Miyamoto's family will have nothing to eat. Obviously, that's an extreme over-exaggeration, but let's really think. If Nintendo were to lose any of these franchises because of mere carelessness, they would lose so much more than you can possibly imagine. Nintendo is built on their IPs. Without them, they really are nothing. Their games are the reason we buy their systems and fork over just a little bit too much money. Look at their biggest competition, Sony and Microsoft. Nintendo is rich, very rich, but their size pales in comparison to Sony and especially to that of Microsoft. Both have such immense resources and manpower to do almost anything they please. As I said earlier, Nintendo is home to the most iconic video game characters in history. They're home to some of the most profitable, most recognizable franchises known in the world. They are the Disney of video games. When they begin to slack off of their copyright enforcement, the cracks will eventually lead to ravines, and any company is looking for that treasure Nintendo has in their vault. Sony, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Apple, even indies are just waiting, circling Nintendo like sharks or hawks, waiting for that moment when their copyright over their IPs become defunct to use their unlimited resources to take the gold. I mean, look at King Kong. Who even owns him now? Nintendo is dramatically overprotective of everything surrounding their IPs, their patents, their trademarks, their copyright. This video is a bit of a downer, but I need to emphasize how astronomically terrible it'd be for Nintendo if they lose their IP, just any of them. But to what extent? Why take down such tiny, minuscule inconveniences? Well, they have to be on their A game 24/7. Remember this warning? When everyone called a video game product a Nintendo. Well, that was a very close call for them because they ran the risk of their own brand name to becoming a generic term. Did your mom call the Wonder Swan a Nintendo? Bitch, watch your backs tonight! Nintendo had to drill home the fact that there is no such thing as a Nintendo. Had the term Nintendo become genericized, Apple would have been calling the Pippin the Nintendo 14 Pro Ultra Max 5G Gold Edition featuring Dante from Devil May Cry. Ever heard of Velcro? Or Popsicle? Or Styrofoam? Bubble Wrap? Aspirin? All of these generic terms you use in your daily life are actually the names of what once were original IPs. All these companies failed to make their case that their names were their IPs, and instead, they all became generic terms. Because they didn't take action sooner, now everyone calls their products aspirin or popsicles, and they profit from that recognizable name, a name that once belonged to you. The name Nintendo almost faced that same fate. Now we'll never get the Nintendo 14 Pro Ultra Max 5G Gold Edition. They are trying to protect their trademarks, and usually they enforce this by going after the copyright. That's probably why Nintendo is known for copyright takedowns and their copyright abuse. So is Disney. To a company like Nintendo, their trademarks, their names and characters and series are of utmost importance to survival. The copyright represents the ability to use their IPs for profit, and when that value of their patents and trademarks deteriorates, so too does the copyright. No matter how small or meaningless your fan project or your re-upload of a 30-year-old product is, Nintendo sees you as a threat. They see you as a mere scratch on their foundation. They want to keep that foundation crystal clean to avoid the loss of their IPs to their competitors. The reason why some companies like Sega are less protective of their IPs, say Sonic, is because they have less to lose. Also, they need the help. Nintendo is on top of the world and has everything to lose. They don't have the luxuries and resources like Microsoft. They don't have the long-running business infrastructure like Disney. They don't have the government support like Sony. and they don't have the maneuverability of Sega Sammy and their smaller scale and emphasis on their IPs. Yes, it probably is mostly for profit, and they'd probably love to get some profit off of the things fans are doing out of pure love. Remember that this is a company whose goal is to make money for its investors. They're all just greedy little Mr. Crab fucks trying to get you to sell your soul away for your money and time. Of course they want you to buy their own products so they can capitalize on your enjoyment. They are so unnecessary when the smallest fan project gets uploaded, or when a mod showing how lovable and fun their games are shown on YouTube, or when passionate fans upload music of their games which have zero official ways to listen to them other than the games themselves. Remember this banger of a tweet? They are especially known for being diabolically cruel to the offenders. Channel strikes and takedowns, cease and desists, lawsuits, and worst of all, jail time. The Melee community keeps staying strong, fighting back and voicing their disappointment of Nintendo's cease and desists. Even though their tournaments and streams give Nintendo's products free advertising and are done out of pure love, because they violated Nintendo's copyright, they are blown to hell sometimes. Fan creations catch DMCAs all the time. AM2R was publicly known to be in development for a long while. Nintendo could have stopped all their hard work the moment they started, so no time and tears were wasted for anyone. But nope, they waited the moment development finished to take down the game. The Joy-Con Boys, a motherfucking charity for a deceased but cherished Nintendo fan, Etika, was copyright struck down because the product they were selling for charity had violated their Nintendo Switch copyright. Just don't use their copyrights and trademarks when putting up fan creations, because if you do, you are implying that the IP belongs to you, and Nintendo will find you. Hacking, especially selling hacked products, is the quintessential way of getting fucked in the ass by a ninja. The ninjas will find you, and they will sue you to smithereens and throw you in jail. And when your sentence is finished, they will force you to pay your impossible fee for the rest of your life. They always make their punishments as unnecessary and cruel to make examples out of people. But come on, Nintendo. Our little fan games or uploads of music or quality of life improvements won't cause your families to go homeless. You aren't going to lose any money to an upload of a game you aren't even selling or trying to bring to the West. Mario isn't going to be lost to fucking meta anytime soon because of a Mario Kart impersonation event. And you'd be absolutely correct. But remember, the profit, and most importantly, the property Nintendo may have everything to lose, is exceptionally most important to them. They aren't afraid your Metroid remake will hurt the sales of their official one, but they are afraid of the damage, the tiniest scratch you make on their impenetrable fortress. This is unfortunately how things are in the realm of IP law in the US, and US law is built on precedent. Nintendo is not one to trifle with. We all ridicule them for being super stingy with their products, and for good reason. I'm not saying I agree with their practices, but you have to understand why. Why they defend themselves so cautiously, because they have some of the most valuable properties ever, and they have everything to lose. But I've pinpointed why. Why the ninjas keep coming. This better be Jimmy John's. Let's finish this. Donovan. Who was that? You're
It will do.